Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Kama esha krodha esha.
Kama esha krodha esha.
Rajaguna samudbhavaha.
Rajaguna samudbhavaha.
Mahashano mahapapma.
Mahashano mahapapma.
Vidi enam iha vairinam.
Vidi enam iha vairinam.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Kama esha krodha esha.
Kama esha krodha esha.
Rajaguna samudbhavaha.
Rajaguna samudbhavaha.
Mahashano mahapapma.
Mahashano mahapapma.
Vidhi enam iha vairinam.
Vidhi enam iha vairinam.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha.
Kama esha krodha esha.
Kama esha krodha esha.
Rajaguna samudbhavaha.
Rajaguna samudbhavaha.
Mahashano mahapapma.
Mahashano mahapapma.
Vidhi enam iha vairinam.
Vidhi enam iha vairinam.
Very nice. Like Brahmins, all of you, no problem. So translation is, this is a very interesting verse, and we will see now that through his purport, Srila Prabhupada, he will reveal the actual science behind Krishna's words. It's very interesting, very scientific. We will come to it. You know, it seems somehow maybe like a poem or something religious, but it is in fact very scientific. We will get to it in a moment. So now you can hear the English. Yes, this is not it. This is yes. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion, and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring, sinful enemy of this world." So this is a little heavy. But we will see that this is, in fact, quite inspiring, if you can see it in the right perspective. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When a living entity comes in contact with the material creation, his eternal love for Krishna is transformed into lust in association with the mode of passion, Rajo Guna. In other words, the sense of love of God becomes transformed into lust, just like milk in contact with sour tamarind is transformed into yogurt. Then again, when lust is unsatisfied, it turns into wrath. Wrath is transformed into illusion, and illusion continues the material existence. Therefore, lust is the greatest enemy of the living entity. We are the living entities, by the way. And it is lust only which induces the pure living entity to remain entangled in the material world. Wrath means anger, it's just a fancy English word. Wrath is the manifestation of the mode of ignorance. These modes exhibit themselves as wrath and other corollaries. Corollaries. Oh, wow, what's a strange word? Corollaries. Others. Wrath and others. If, therefore, the mode of passion, instead of being degraded into the mode of ignorance, is elevated to the mode of goodness by the prescribed method of living and acting, then one can be saved from the degradation of wrath by spiritual attachment. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expanded himself into many for his ever-increasing spiritual bliss, and the living entities are parts and parcels of this spiritual bliss. They also have a partial independence, but by misuse of their independence, when the service attitude is transformed into the propensity for sense enjoyment, they come under the sway of lust. This material creation is created by the Lord to give facility to the conditioned soul to fulfill these lustful propensities, and when completely baffled by prolonged lustful activities, the living entities begin to inquire about the real precision. This inquiry is the beginning of the Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra is a very famous portion of the Vedas. It is said to be the Vedas gathered, the conclusions of the Vedas gathered into one book, one scripture, called the Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta means conclusion. Huh? Yes, Veda means knowledge. So Anta, I think it means the conclusion of knowledge. Anyway, and a sutra is just a form. It's like how it is written is like a poetry. The Vedas are written in poetry because it used to be an oral tradition. So the Vedas were spoken, and to receive it, it would be written in such a way that you would receive it. Like if it rhymes, it's easier to remember. Huh? So anyway, so later it was written down for our modern day and age, when when the brain is somehow exchanged with the electronics. So that memory is not so sharp. So then it's written down for us. Anyway, this inquiry is the beginning of the Vedanta Sutra. The beginning, here it starts, wherein it is said, Adhato Brahma Jigyasa. One inquires into the Supreme. And the Supreme is defined in the Srimad Bhagavatam as Janmadi Asya Yato Nyayad Itharatash Cha, or the origin of everything is the Supreme Brahman. Therefore, the origin of lust is also the Supreme. If therefore lust is transformed into love for the Supreme, or transformed into Krishna consciousness, or in other words, desiring everything for Krishna, then both lust and wrath can be spiritualized. Now here comes the example, very famous. Hanuman, the great servitor of Lord Ram, he exhibited his wrath, his anger, by burning the golden city of Ravan. They wanted to torture. Hanuman is the monkey god. You may have seen him. He's like a monkey, but of a celestial race, not known anymore. So he's very intelligent. He speaks, and he was captured by a evil demon. Although he was engaged in trying to rescue the wife of Lord Ramachandra, which is an incarnation of Krishna. So they wanted to torture him, so they set fire to his tail. Monkeys have tail, right? But Hanuman, he's very clever, so then he just broke out of his confinement, and he ran around the city, and he set fire to all the houses. So he turned it around, right? Like in chess, sometimes they say, you turn it around, right? So what the enemy does to you, you can turn it around and it becomes a disadvantage for him. Right? So Hanuman, he did this, and the city burned. Yes. Here also in the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord induces Arjuna to engage his wrath upon his enemies for the satisfaction of the Lord. Therefore, lust and wrath, when they are employed in Krishna consciousness, become our friends instead of our enemies. Sri Bhagavad Uvacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajo Guna Samud Bhavaha Maha Shano Maha Papma Vidhi Enam Iha Pairina. Yes. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the mode of passion, and later transformed into wrath, which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. Yes. Of course, we forgot the famous introduction, which I should say. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Magyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Shakshuramilatam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpataruvescha Kripasinudeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Alright. So when one is eager to speak, then the formalities, they may be sometimes forgotten. It's okay. Yes. From lust comes anger. Kama esha, krodha esha. And raja guna. When we come into this world, we have a spiritual origin, actually. It is forgotten in modern society, but it's true. There is a spiritual origin for everyone. The soul, which is the life force, the living essence, which science has yet to prove. But it is there, and this is our true self. And that spiritual essence, that soul, has its origin somewhere else than this place. And somehow we now find ourselves here. And it is not actually natural for us. We can sense it in a way. Let's say, for example, no one wants to die. Okay? No one. Not the king, not the poor man in the street. We will fight for our life. Because death is unnatural for the soul. The soul is eternal. By nature, the soul is eternal. And this temporary situation of this material universe is actually alien to us. And the sense of fear at the prospect of death is a little tinge of remembrance of that true nature which we have. And anyway, so here we are. And why are we here? Rajaguna, kama, lust. Lust means not, although lust similarly can refer to the propensity for erotic emotions, but it's more than that. Lust is the basis of our existence here. It is everything. The lust for selfish enjoyment. We must be honest. I mean, we are here because we somehow seek pleasure, and this is actually natural. What is that phrase? We spoke about it earlier. Ananda mayo bhyasat. This is also from the Vedanta Sutra. We are, by nature, we are pleasure seeking. It's true. But on the spiritual platform, we derive pleasure from giving service to others. This is actually the highest pleasure. Now, for example, ask someone like Mother Teresa, who gave her life, her whole life, from a young teenager. She gave her life for the poor people of Calcutta. She opened a monastery. She was a devout Catholic. And she was asked, why do you do it? Why? Why give up your life? You could, you could adjust your situation nicely. Now you have some followers. You could maybe, get some money. You can relax. She worked very hard. You have seen pictures of her, very vain and thin. I think she had only 3 saris, 3 white saris, that's it. Some simple living. And she asked, you know what she answered? It's a very amazing answer. She said, inside my heart lives another Hitler. And if I don't do this work, he will come out. So she realized this fact, that the essence of our enjoyment is not for our self-interest, it is for others. And ultimately it is for God. That is the highest selfless pleasure. Since we are part and parcel of God, then to satisfy Him by our acts and deeds, this will give us in return something which is out of this world. Now let's take an example just to prove it. It's interesting. You have the body. Is some doctor is here? No doctor. Anyway, it's anatomy. I'm a nurse, so I know a little bit about that. You have the body. What is the center of the body? I mean, if we speak just in mundane terms, what is it that keeps the body going? It is, in many ways we can say, it is the stomach. The stomach produces the energy for which the body needs to function. Okay? So let's say you have the arms, or you have the legs, the mouth, the brain, everything is there to somehow collaborate together to give food to the stomach. Let's say, for example, the hand. The hand decides, why give to the stomach? I want to enjoy. The stomach is always getting everything. Now let me try. Will it enjoy? Will it get some energy? No. It can try for some time, but if the stomach is not supplied, body becomes weak, hand becomes weak. Oh. But as soon as it realizes, aha, yes, it goes down, and then it starts. Then actually, by this act, this selfless act of giving to the stomach, the hand himself becomes strong and invigorated. Yes? It's the same principle. We can try and try and try as much as we want to somehow keep for ourselves, to somehow satisfy our own senses, but in reality we do not get satisfied. It's proven everywhere. Everyone is hankering for something else. There's this saying, the grass, you sometimes think the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, right? It's not. It's just that sense of frustration. Because we're trying to enjoy, and it is in reality impossible. Only if we link through yoga. Yoga means to link, actually. The modern, if we can say, the modern concept of yoga is somewhat distorted as to its original purport. Now, somehow yoga is used maybe to become more beautiful, or I don't know. But the process of yoga, actually everything is yoga. Activity is yoga. Yoga means to link with the Supreme, and through that link, through that activity, for the Supreme, for Krishna, for God. Then true enjoyment is the result. Because the soul then is linked up to this Ananda. Ananda Mayo Vyasa. We are searching for Ananda. In this material world is no Ananda. It is to be found in another sphere. Although it is available in the material world, Devi Hiyesha Gunamai Mama Maya Durakya. Devi Hiyesha Guna. That even this material atmosphere, although it is made by the 5 elements, 5, not 4, 5 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Ether means space. So it is made by that, and it may seem mundane, but it is not. Actually, its origin is also spiritual. It is one of Krishna's Shaktis. Shakti means energy. So we call it we call it material, but that is more our own perception. Its source is spiritual. The source of everything is spirit. Somehow I got a little sidetracked what I wanted to say, but this was a little more interesting. Yes, we were speaking about the science, right? The science. I just wanted to maybe comment a little bit on that because it may seem like some dogma. Oh, if you act in such a way, it's sinful. I mean, this word, for example, at least in our modern society, this word sin, it's quite, it has this dogmatic shadow. You know? No, I don't believe it. No, it's true. It's orthodox. You know? Sin, come on, you just act, right? I'm a responsible person. I act. What's the problem? But the word, and you get this picture of you burn in hell, right? Although, actually, according to the Srimad Bhagavatam, one of the an essential part of the Vedas, that kind of hellish situation is described, but sin is, I think at least I would like to say that sin is something else. Sin just means that you act out of your, out of a misunderstood conception. So if we forget these labels when we say this word sin, we should use another word because the word sin is a little labeled, you know. But when you act out of a misconception, then the result is actually frustration. Because you act out, actually you act on the side of your true position. It is described. That this is what I wanted to. So we can get a sense of the science here. Yes. Okay, here it comes. This is how Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Raja Guna Samud Bhavaha. From lust comes anger, and anger is, there are three, basically, in a broad category we can say that in this material world there are three basic qualities: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Okay? We can say there are semi-categories in between, but basically the main categories are three. And